This conference will now be recorded.
So today we'll cover the backup and recovery in HANA database. Okay, so let's start. So why the backup is required? So we'll see that first. So yeah, so let's start with the some basic concept of each and all the database, not only the HANA but every database. So for the HANA, in-memory data and the persistent storage are safe. Okay, SAP HANA holds the bulk of its data in memory for maximum performance, but still uses the persistent storage to provide a fallback in case of failure. So HANA database store the data in the memory. Okay, but it uses the persistent storage as well. Okay, so why the persistent storage is required? Because if there is any failure like power failure or hardware failure, so data in the memory will lose, because server will be crash. Server will crash and the data in the memory will be lost, because memory is the temporary container. So the data will be there in the memory if the server is active. So we already covered that how the data from memory to persistent storage are synced using the save point. So regularly save point is executed, and whatever the data is changed in the memory, that is written to the disk. So those data is copied to persistent storage. So persistent storage is required in case of in case of the failure from the hardware or power failure. So when you start the database, it start the recovery. If the data is aborted, our data is database shut down, uh, abnormal, then during the startup it do the recovery. So we'll see that how. So during the normal operations, data is automatically saved from memory to a disk at the regular save points. Additionally, all data changes are captured in the redo logs entries. The redo log entry is written to a disk after each committed database transactions. We already covered this part. So consider after the power failure, the SAP HANA database restarted like any disk-based database and return it to last consistent states by replying the redo logs entry since the last save point. So meaning of this, if you see the last paragraph statement, the meaning is, if you see here, this is your HANA database, and here you have the save point. Save point is executed every 5 minutes, and then after the 5 minutes, between the 5 minutes, next between the two save points, we have the redo logs. So the transition is committed and the redo log is generated. So this is the redo logs for the committed transactions. Okay, so save point is executed here, and then next save point will execute after the 5 minutes. So after before executing the next save point, your database is crashed, power failure is happened, so your HANA database will shut down. Now you start the database. Okay, you resolve the hardware or power issues, and then you start the HANA database. Then you start the HANA database. When you execute a command HDB start, then it will look for the you know it will recover all the redo logs. So it will recover, because here the save point is not executed. So whatever the committed transaction is there in the redo logs, those transaction will be recovered. Okay. Since the last save points. So since the last save points, all the redo logs and the committed transaction will be recovered to the last save points. Okay, so this way your HANA database recover your committed transactions. So uncommitted transaction we cannot recover, because nobody. So in HANA database we don't have the in HANA database we don't have not only the HANA database, in any database we do not have the uh, committed uncommitted transaction. You know, sorry. So in any database, the committed uncommitted transaction cannot be restored. Okay, so only the committed transaction and your data will be restored in all database. Yeah. So it's only simple. So all database work like this, not only the HANA but other database also like the work like this. Okay, so this is the common uh, we can say that methods for recovering the your committed transaction during the power failure. Okay, move back to the topic. So why backup is required? So backup is required to protect the disk failures. So disk here we are referring to a storage. Okay, data volumes and the log volumes. Okay, so here if you see that here we have the memory, data is there, save point is executed, data area is updated. So this data area is the persistent storage. This is the logs for committed transactions. So each and every committed transaction we have the redo logs, and the redo logs are there in the log area. So if suppose for data area or log area is crash, means deleted, some issue is there in the at the storage level, and you cannot you are not able to start the database. Okay, because your storage is corrupted or your data volumes are corrupted because of the hardware issues, because of the disk failure, something kind of. Okay, so here if you don't take the backups for your data area and the log area. Okay, so data area is nothing but a HANA uh, data SID, and the log area is nothing but a HANA SID logs. If you don't take the backup for your data and the log area, then you won't able to restore your HANA database. Okay, so backup is required to protect against this failure. Also, backup is also required for the database copy, system refresh, and HANA system replication, like HADR configurations. You require the backups. Okay, so backup is required meaning the cases. The important one is the to protect the hardware failure. Okay, so to protect your data from the test failure or hardware failure. Okay, so that's the reason the backup is required. So we are taking the backup for that purpose. So if you see that data flow is always from memory to disk and their backups. Okay, so whenever we take a backup, so what we take a backup for the data area. So log area backup is automatic. We never trigger the log backups. So log backups is automatic, but we define the destination for the log backups and the data backup as well. So means we define the location where we want to store our backups. So whenever we take a backup, so we take a backup for the data area. The log area backup is automatic. Only we configure the location, okay, and log area log backup is automatically happening every 15 minutes. In HANA database, we have only online, uh, online backups. Offline backup is not there. Okay, so it is not, will create any problems. Sorry. So in HANA database, we have only the online backups. Okay, offline backup doesn't create any values. If you want to take a offline backups, then you shut down your application. Okay, and then you log all the users in the HANA database. Okay, and then you can take a backup for the HANA database. So this way you can perform the offline backups, but offline backup is not there in the HANA database. It supports only the online backups. So you can trigger the backups. Okay, what else here? Yeah, so log backups are carried out automatically. Okay, so we don't take the backups for the log area, it is automatically. And yeah, data backups snapshot control applicable. Yeah, any questions till now here, guys? No questions? Fine. So options for the backups. So what are the options we have, taking the backups? So backups we can trigger to file systems, okay, or we can use the third-party backup tools. If you are using the third-party backup tools like NetApp, then Veritas, okay, then HP backup tools, or other vendors backup tools, okay, Veritas and all that. So each and every vendor, they have their own configuration steps, okay. So they will install the backup agent on HANA database, okay. So they will guide you, they will give you the steps for the installations, because they will not be having the access for the HANA database. So they will give you the some softwares script. That script you have to run on your HANA database, and you have to do the some parameter changes as per their recommendation. So each and every third party have their own uh, backup configurations, okay. So in HANA database we have back int. So back int means back interface. Back interface means backend interface. So means using the back int you can integrate the third party backup tools. So you can trigger the backups from third party, or also you can trigger the backups from the HANA Studio to third party storage or backup storage or device. For the file systems, so we will cover how to take a backups on a file systems. Okay, so we will be creating a one separate the file systems called backups, and then we will configure the location for the data and the log backups. Okay, so if you're taking the backups on the file systems, then we have to configure the locations where my backup will go. Okay, so location for the data backups, location for the log backups. Okay, so backup you can trigger from HANA Cockpit, okay, from HANA Studio, from SQL commands, from DB Cockpit, okay, and the log backups are automatic, so we don't trigger the log backups. So location for the backups, if you see that here, so if you go in the configuration tab in HANA Studio, in configuration tab, you will see in the global.ini, you will see the persistence. So in the persistence, if you see that this is the base path underscore data backups. Okay, so data backups, this is the location where the backup will store, and this is log backups, base path underscore log backups. So this is the location for the log backup, the location for the log backups, so where the log backup will store. So here, if you see that this is the default the location. Okay, so after the installation, default location will be there. Okay, by default you configure the default location and it will go in HANA shared. Okay, so after the installations, we have to change this. Otherwise, if you start taking the backups on the HANA shared, okay, then if the HANA shared is full due to the data and the log backups, then your HANA database will crash. Okay, so we have to change this location. So after the installation, we have to change. So we'll see that how to configure and how to change everything. So you can change it from the configuration. So I'll show you that in the systems as well. So backup wizard is there. So backup wizard and this location configuration, we do it from the system DB. Okay, so we have to log into the system DB. Then we have to configure the location for the data in the logs. So we take a backup for the system DB and then Talend database. So we have to define the data backup location and log backup location for system DB as well as Talend database. Okay, you can define from the configuration tabs. Also, you can define the same from the backup wizard. So this is the backup wizard. Okay, so I would suggest this one. Okay, so always use the configuration tab. Okay, in the global.ini, you just update this, update the backup configuration location. So if you see here, so here if you see that here we have the backend settings. Okay, so if your backend if you configure the third-party backup, then this will active. Okay, right now it is gray out because backend agent is not configured. Okay, so backend agent, the third-party agent is not there in the system. If you have configured the third-party backup, then you will see that it is active. Okay, but most of the cases we are not using this one, the backend. Okay, so we do we create a separate file system for the backups, and we take all the we schedule the backups on that file systems, and then from there from that file system we transfer to the some other location. Okay, okay, so we'll see that. So yeah, so most of the in Azure, if you see that if you work on the Azure because everywhere we have the Azure. So in the Azure, most of the time, most of the people, there are some limitation in the Azure for the HANA backups. Okay, for the VMs. Okay, so in Azure, we take a backups on the file systems. Okay, we have we create a separate mount point about uh, if your size is database size is 1 TB and you want to have a copy, 2 copy of 3 copy of your backups, then the size should be 4 TB or 5 TB something for your files for the backup file system. So you can store 3 or 4 copies, and then you transfer on regular basis to some other blob or storage. Okay, so in one of the uh, customers, so we are doing like this: we taking the backups on the file systems, and then from the file systems we copy those backup to the blob, that is Azure storage. Okay, so if you see here, this is disabled. If it is configured, then it will be active, otherwise it will deactivate. And here we have the file based data backup settings. So here file based database settings means this is the location where your backup will store. So when you trigger the backups on this location, the backup will go, and then your backup will copy. So this is the default location. We don't use the default location. We use separate file system for the data at the log backup. If you see here, the backup intervals, this is the log backup, this is the data backups. This is the log backup location. Here also the file is enabled, backend is disabled. So this is the destination location for the log backups. So here the log backup will store, and the backup interval is 15 minutes. So every 15 minutes, log backup will be generated automatically. Okay, if you see that enable, here it is mentioned that enable automatic log backups. Okay, so the log backup is automatic, so we don't change anything. And it is 15 minutes, keep it default. And if you see here, the limit maximum file size, if you want to limit, for example, your backup size is 1 TB. Okay, so when you take a backups, your database size is 1 TB, and when you take a backups for your HANA database, then it will create a one file for 1 TB. Okay, you don't want to create a 1 TB files, then what you can do, you can just provide the size, okay, in MB. So if you provide 200 a year in MB, then it will create a files files. Okay, so it will divide 200 into 1 TB divided by 200. So whatever it will come, that much of files that much of the files will be created. So basically it will split your backups. Okay, so it is it is good if you're transferring the backups to the some other location. If it is 1 TB and you are transferring, something goes wrong, okay, if communication network communication is happen, okay, and then your backup copy will the cancel. Okay, then again you have to start. But if you split your backups, the files, Okay, then whatever, so 200 GB will go, then next 200, next 200. So in between, if something goes wrong with the connectivity, then you don't need to restart your uh, copy again. So you will see that how much my backup is copied to the some other location. For example, two files are copied, three files are remaining. Then you will copy those three files to the that location. So here you can split your backups, the files. Any questions here?
Can you go back one slide?
Okay.
What is the difference between the data backup and data volume thing?
Data volumes is nothing but storage data, HANA data SID, that is the data volumes, and then log volumes is the HANA the log SID. So that is your log volumes. We'll see in the system. Okay. So this is the default location. Okay. Okay. So during the installation, we provide the data volumes and the log volumes. Okay. So if you see that it pick automatically. HANA data SIDs, then HANA log SIDs. Okay, so after the installation, okay, so it will configure the new location for the data and the log volumes. We'll see in the systems. Yeah, so this is data volumes and the log volumes. That is nothing but the log area and the data area. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll see in the system because this here it is confusing. So this is the default location. Okay, it will go always in the HANA shared, which is earlier release, it goes in the HANA shared. Okay, then after that SAP improved the database, and they provided the locations, separate the file system location. You can specify during the installation, and it will use that one only. Yeah. So there are a lot of improvement. If you see any default, the configuration, that means that it is there in since the release. Okay, 2011, 2012. So that time we somewhere we use SAP MNT. In SAP MNT we we put everything. Okay, in the older, but now it is the separated HANA shared user SAP, then HANA data log, HANA SID, HANA log is SID. So all are separated now. So leave that one. I'll show you in the system. Any other questions till here till now?
I have one more question here.
Yeah.
So file-based data backup setting, the destination that we are providing is the local file, like the path.
Yeah,
Can
local
we
or
also?
NFS maybe.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you can have the NFS or local as well. So most of the time we have the NFS. Okay, because because we have the storage, and the storage we mount as a NFS.
Okay.
It all depends upon you. So whether you want to have the local or NFS. So if it is development system, then local is fine. Okay, but if it is production, then we use the NFS in case if you have the HSR, HANA system replication, like primary and the secondary. So in that case, we use the NFS. Okay, because if your primary goes down, then your database will move on secondary, and on secondary the database backup will trigger. So if it doesn't find the destination location, then your backup will fail. Okay, so we use the NFS for the in case of the HSR. You can have the local even, but in the local you will be having the separate the file mount point destination for the primary as a local, and on the secondary as well you will be having the local. Here you will be paying the cost for two file systems. Okay, so instead this one we use the NFS, so from the storage, so that the cost will be reduced. Yeah, so always use the NFS. It reduces your cost if you want to you know have the the file systems on all the database. Okay, like in the scale out scenario, multi-node configuration. Okay, so in multi-node configuration, we use always the NFS. Okay, so the file system, always NFS for the backups, because those file system, should be available on all the across the nodes. Okay, so when the backup is triggered, it trigger complete your database and from all the nodes. Okay, so there we have the NFS. Fine. Any other questions? Fine. Okay, so log mode. So in HANA database, we have two log mode. First is the normal and the second is the override. So in the override, if you see that, if you set the log mode equal to override, then you won't database won't generate the logs. The log will not be generated. Log backup will not be triggered in case of override. Okay, so it is circular. So your log segment data will in override, your log segment will be released whenever the log segment is full or whenever the save point is executed. But in that case, the you will not get your log backups. Okay, so offline logs you will not get in the override mode, and point in time recovery will not be possible if you set your database to be override. Only the data backup you can have. So log backup you won't able to trigger in case of you have the override mode. In the log mode equal to normal, you have the data, the backups. You can trigger the data backups and you can also trigger the log backups. So log backups is automatic every 15 minutes. Okay, so if it is normal, then you can have the point in time recovery. So you can recover your database using the backups and also using the logs. Okay, so in normal mode, we have the data and the logs. For the SAP recommend that for the production, you keep log mode equal to normal. Okay, that is the recommendations. Okay, and the log mode equal to override you can have for the sandbox system, development systems. Yeah, you can have the normal for your sandbox development other system as well. So people using the log mode equal to normal for all sandbox development, quality, and the production. Okay, so so configure the log mode equal to normal. So when we install the HANA database, by default the log mode is configured as a normal, and during the installation it set the automatic log backups. Okay, so in the interview questions, what are the log modes in the HANA database? So you can say that log mode is equal to overwrite and the normal. So what is different between overwrite and the normal log modes, and which one is the default the mode? So default mode is the normal. Okay, so during the installation, the normal mode is to configure automatically. Okay, and then the log backup is automatic every 15 minutes. So that is default configuration. Okay, one thing here, the log backups, which is log backups will not trigger if you do not have the consistent data backups. Means to use the log mode equal to normal, you should have to trigger one database backups. After triggering the database backups, then only it will generate the logs. Okay, so if you see in the systems, I will show you that is in the systems. So even the log mode is normal. Even the log is configured for automatics every 15 minutes, but still the data, the log backup is not happening. Why? I will explain that. Okay, so in the systems as well. Yeah. Any questions till now here? Fine. So log mode equal to override. The log segments are free by the save points, and the no log backup is performed. Log mode equal to override is not recommended for production systems. No point in time recovery is possible. For recovery, only the data backups are used. The logs are not used. Okay, because log is not there in the log mode equal to override. Only the following recovery options can be selected. So you can only recover your database using the data backups. Log mode equal to the normals, automatic log backups available. Log backup directly configure with the parameters base path log backups. Okay, for production systems we recommended log backups normal because it provide the highest security with the regards to the reach protection of the data for the recovery of the HANA database. In the normal log modes, the systems automatically create a log backups, and that can be used for recovering in addition to the data backups. Point in time recovery is possible in the log mode equal to normal. So keep log mode equal to normal. For this is the default mode. Keep it for development, productions, quality, sandbox. This mode. The backup catalogs. So what is the backup catalogs? So backup catalogs basically, having the records of your successful or failed backups. So when we trigger the backups, the progress for the backups is written to the backup catalog. So backup catalog is nothing but the logs, we can say that, where you will having all your the details of your backups. Okay, when it was triggered, how much time it takes, where is the location, where my backup is stored. Okay, everything. So what is the size of the backup? Okay, so everything will be stored in the backup catalogs. So we'll see that where we can see the backups catalogs. So this is the backup catalogs. If you can see that the start date, durations, size, and then backup types, whether it is data backups or the log backups. If you want to see the logs, then you click the logs. It will show you the log backup as well. So if you click any one entries, you will see here successful data backups, then files, location. Here is the location. Okay, and then OK means your backup is successful. We started, finish, durations, the size for backups, and then here is the services. Which what are the services backed up. You will see here. So we'll see in the system practically. Okay. First, we'll complete all the theory part, and then we'll go with the practicals. So backup types. Okay. So HANA database supports full data backups, incremental backups, and the differential backup as well. Okay. So all types of backups HANA database supports. Full database backups. If you trigger the full database backups, then it will take a full database backups and complete backups of your HANA database. If you schedule the incremental backups, then it will take the backups backup of the data which is changed from last database backup. For example, if you have taken the full database backups, you have the backup strategy like on the weekend will trigger the will schedule the full database backups, and then Monday to Saturday we'll have the incremental backups. So in this case, you require your full database backup will trigger on Sunday, and then after that incremental backups on Monday. So whatever the changes you have made in the systems on Monday, those changes will get backed up. Okay, and on Tuesday, whatever the when the incremental backups run on the Tuesday, so whatever the changes we have in the systems on Tuesday, okay, after the last incremental backups, okay, successful incremental backups, those changes will be backed up. Okay, so this is the we can say that mechanisms for the incremental backups. Differential backups is also work on the same the concept, but in the differential backups you require the full database backups. Okay, last consistent full database backups. But for the incremental backups, either you have the first full backups or delta backups. Okay, but differential backups require a full database backup, and then you can schedule the differential backups. So incremental backups and differential backup when we schedule. when if you have the database size, huge database size, like in more than 10 TB or 15 TB, where your backups is not completing on time. Okay, it is not completed in night, or still the backup is running in daytime. Okay, if your backup size is big, so in that case we schedule the full database backup on weekend, Saturday, and then on Monday we schedule the incremental or differential backups. Okay, so based on your requirement, we can have this one. Okay, so to avoid the backups runs in daytimes, if you run the backups, if your backup is running in daytime, then you will see the performance issue. Then user will start reporting the performance issues. Okay, so if it is database size is small, like in 5 TB or 6 TB, and your backup is completing within the 8 hours in night, then no worries. Okay, but if it is still taking a time, and it's completing in the daytime, then you have to schedule incremental or differential backup as well to avoid any performance issues. Any questions till now?
Sir, what is the difference between incremental and differential? Like, it is not clear.
So incremental backups, I said that both are same. Okay, so if you schedule the incremental backups, then incremental backups require the full backups or delta backups. Initial full database data backups, or full data backups or delta backups. For the differential backups, both are same. Okay, both are incremental means what? Okay, if you see that here, as I given the example, we can have Sunday full backups, then Monday to Saturday incremental backups. To start the incremental backups on Monday, you should have full backups completed before that, or delta backups. Differential backup is also same as the incremental backups, but differential backups required the full database backups. So differential backups we schedule not on daily basis. Okay, we schedule alternate day basis. For example, Sunday we schedule full database backups. Then on Tuesday we schedule the differential backups, because differential backup will be taking little time, or little time. Okay, so both are the same, so there won't be much difference. It's all depends upon your backup strategy. So both will take the incrementals. Both will take the backups, whether it is incremental or differential backups. Both will take the backups of your change data from last data backups. Okay, if you see the change data since last data backups, either it is full or delta. Okay, we schedule, if you have the incremental, then we have the daily incremental backups. For the differential backups, change data since last full backups. Okay, and these backups we sometimes schedule on alternate day. Also, we can have the combination of all three. Okay, like full data backup. Okay, then incremental backups, two incremental backups, then one differential backups, and then two incremental backups, and then you will be having the full data backups. Okay, okay, so both are same. Yeah. Any other questions?
But when we recover, we can recover any one of them, right?
No, we have to recover in the sequence.
So first the full, and then either incremental or
Yeah,
differential.
Full, then incremental backups. If you have full and then 5 incremental backup, then you restore the full, then you restore the incremental backup. If you have scheduled full backup, 2 incremental backup, 1 differential backup, then 2 incremental backups, then restore 1 full backup, then 2 incremental backups, 1 differential backups, and then 2 incremental backups, like this. The same sequence you have to follow for the restore as well. So it is time consuming for the restore. Yeah.
Is this a feature exclusive to HANA, or even the other database?
Other database. Yeah, every database has the same functionality. It is not only for the HANA. So you can see this in the oracles, you can see in these Sybase as well, also in the SQL IBM DB2. Every database has the full data, incremental, and the differential backups. Okay, common for all database. Any other questions? Fine. So this backup strategy, each and every company have their own backup strategy. Okay, based on their backup size. Okay, so if it is small, then fiddle the full data backups. Fine. So we'll see that how to perform the backups. Okay, in the systems. Okay. So before that, we will configure the backups. So log into the OS. So I'll create a one mount point, the file system, say that, not a mount point, folders, I can see that. So yeah, so log in, and then what is the size? 70 GB. Why it is 70, 61 is available. Okay, fine. So what I'll do, I will create a one backup folders, mkdir. Then under the root, I will create root, and then the folder name is the backups. Okay, then I will give you the permission, 777 permission, because we need a full permission for the systems, HANA systems, to access this location. Okay, now here we have created this is. Now I will go inside, and then I will create a data. This is the data backups, mkdir. I'll create a log as well. Sorry, mkdir, the logs. Okay, so if you see here, I have created two data in the logs. So I will take my data backups in the data and the log backups in the logs. So give the 777 permission, chmod -r 777, then data, and then the log as well. You see the permission is changed now. Okay, now we'll configure this location. Okay, let me see, let me copy the path now. So this is pwd, this is path. So we'll copy this the location for the system backups and the tenant backups. Okay, so go to the HANA Studio, log into the your systems. Okay, where is my systems? Yeah, you have to log in systemdb. Yeah, so all backup configuration we do in system db. Then go to the configuration tab. So let me first show you the wizard, backup wizard. You see that this is the backup wizard. If you double click here, it will show you the configuration whatever we have. So whatever the configuration we have, it will show that one. So let me double click. It is opening. Below backup readiness checks. So takes time. So here backup overview, no data backups, operation currently in progress, last successful backup for data doesn't have, we have not configured, we have not triggered any backups. So that's the reason here we can see the blanks. In the configuration, if you see, here you see here this one back in settings, it is gray out because it is not configured. And if you see that file system based backups, so this is the default location. If you go to this location, okay, it will be your HANA share. Okay, so by default you will be having this one. Okay, so under USR SAP dev, then HDP 00, inside that you will be having the backups. Okay, this is the default, yeah. And then under that you will be having the data and the logs. This user SAP SID is pointing to the HANA share. Okay, so it is a soft link to the HANA share. Okay, fine. So we don't, so this is the default configuration. We change this later, you can change it from here. Okay, but we will not going to change here, we will change it from the configurations. This is the location for the logs where your log backups will go. This is 15 minutes. Okay, and the log backup is automatic. So if you see that this is the default configurations. Okay, and then this default configuration we change it. Okay, so if you want to change this one backup interval, you can change the backup interval. If you want to trigger in 10 minutes, you can have the 10 minutes. If you want in seconds or hours, you can set that one. So don't change, keep it default. Okay, in the backup catalogs, if you see that no backup is there. Okay, so no backup is there. So if you see the system DB, no backup is there. If you see the dev, the no backup is there. Okay, the log backup is also not there. Okay, so as I said that log backup is automatic. So based on this configuration, it should start the log backups, right? But it doesn't because to start the log backups, it required one database backups. So this concept is common for all the database. Okay, so to have the log backups enable, you should have the full database backups. Even if you work in the Oracle, if you enable the archiving, then you have to trigger the full database backup first, online backups, and then the log backup start. Okay, the same concept is there in the HANA database. The log backup will not start if you do not have the full database backups, because to have the logs, if you do not have the data backups, then the log will not be useful. So you cannot restore your database with only logs. Okay, so you require data backups plus all the logs if you want to have the point in time recovery. That's the reason backup will not be backup. We cannot see the backup for the logs. Okay, once you trigger the backups for your data, whether it is systemdb or whether it is tenant database, once the backup is full database is triggered, then your log backup will start automatically. Okay, so this is the concept for all the database. Without the full consistent backups, online backups, the data, the log backups will not be in use. Okay, so we'll go back and then we'll go into the configuration. So I logged in into the systemdb, go to the configurations, and then go in the global.ini. Then go to the persistence, memory persistence. Here is the persistence. Then if you see here, so for the data volumes, if you see the data volumes, so this is the default location, and during the installation the installer changed the location HANA data dev. So by default it takes this location, and for the logs we have this one HANA log dev. Okay, so these two locations for data and the logs is configured during the installation. So installer HDB lifecycle management take this as a default. Okay, so we created this mount point file systems before we start the HANA database, and then that location is configured here. It override the default one. Don't change these two locations. Now coming to the data backup. So this is the data backups. This is default locations. So where so this location, if we see here, the same, this one, this is the same. Okay, so this location is same. This is coming from here. Okay, now we have to change this one. Then double click your parameters. Okay, then here we have to specify the locations. So if you see, the location is this one. Yeah, so configure proper locations. Okay, just copy paste from there here. So if we see that this we are defining for the system, this is for the system DB. So my system database backup will go here. Okay, and I will define the same location for my tenant database. Okay, select all. Okay, and then go down, and this is the, if you see the dev is my tenant database. Here I will put this location. Okay, and now click on the save. So if you see here, the location for the system backups data, the location for tenants backup data. So in this two location, in this my system data backups and the tenant database backups will go here when I trigger the backups. So when we trigger the backup for system, so it will create a one folders under the backup data with the name of system DB. And for the tenants, if you trigger the backup for tenants, and in this location backup under data, it will create a one folders called DB underscore SIDs. So whatever your tenant SID is there, it will create DB underscore, for in our case, we have DEV. So it will create DB underscore DEV. Okay, under the backup underscore data. So we don't create any folders for the system or tenants. So it's automatically created. Same we have to specify for the log backups. Yeah, so log backups, double clicks, and then just copy the location from there, because to avoid any the spelling mistakes, or yeah, so copy here and then specify for your logs, system DB for logs, and then tenant database for logs, and then click save. So this is the location backups data in the backup logs. Now what next? We have to specify the location for the catalog backup as well. So we have the catalogs. So if you see here, this backup catalogs. So these backup catalogs, very important. Yeah, so we have to change this backup catalog as well. We don't want to store the backup catalogs on the default location. So default location for the backup catalog is this one only. Yeah, this one. Yeah. Okay, so we'll change it to the our location, this one. Okay, so if you see that, where is the this one is the catalog backups. So this is the location for the catalog backup default. We will change it to the our, double click, and then keep the backups logs for your system DB catalogs, and then tenants database backup catalogs. This is very important if you are doing the recovery. Okay, so always configure your location for your log backups, data backups, and then also the catalog backups. Okay, so you specify the catalog backup same as the log one. Yeah, for system DB and the tenant database. Now it is done. Refresh it, and if you go back to configuration, if you refresh here, then the location will change. So whatever we have specified, it will pick that location here. If you see in the destination, we have the location backup data in the backup logs. Any questions here till now? Up till? Any doubt?
So the backend settings also needs to be done from the like the global INI configuration.
Yes, yes, correct. So they will guide you how to do that. So if you go here, you will see that in the global.ini, some okay, so some parameters are there, not only this one. Okay, so this will be a different. So this is so not sure where what is the it takes the parameter is not there here, but that agent will pick that one. So here the whatever the agent is installed, whatever the location, okay. So that agent will be communicating with the back INT, and whatever the location is there in the back INT during the agent installations they configured, it will pick automatically. So this will be gray out. Okay, so files systems will be gray out. So you will see the backend parameters files, backend parameter files. So this backend parameter files, wherever they will keep in not on the same location in the global.ini, but it is not in the global.ini. So global.ini is only for your file systems. For the backend, it is done through their backup agent. Okay. So whatever the location they have, whatever the parameters they have for there, they will you will see here. Yeah. But in the configuration, you won't see anything here. Okay. Might be, I think the location will change here, maybe, might be, not sure. Yeah, so they will guide you how to do that because I have not worked on with the back interface. So where rarely you will see the back interface in the organizations because it have the cost. So the people is having the NFS and then they moving those NFS to the storage. Fine. Any other questions before I move to the next?
Sir, like you said that log backups are running with 15 minutes interval. So what if
Yeah.
my like previous log backups runs more than 15 minutes? So will the next person will run or like it will wait?
Log backup will never run 15 minutes. Log
Okay.
backups is always happen whenever you know yeah, so it won't be the case. If it is the case, then obviously next backup will not be triggered for the logs. Okay, you will see the failed. Okay, if that is the case, then there may be a bug in the HANA software. Then you have to contact with the SAP that my log backup is taking longer times. So they will maybe providing the solutions. Yeah, so this kind of issues come if you have the bugs in your current release. Yeah, but log backups will never run for longer. Yeah, in seconds it's complete. Fine. Any other questions? No question, then I'll move. Now, how to take the backups? Okay, we have configured the location, the for log, catalogs, and the data backups. To trigger the backups, you have to log into the system DB and just right click on your system DB and then go to the backup and recovery. Okay, and then you just trigger the backup. So what are the backups you want to trigger? For example, if you want to trigger the backup for the system DB, just click on the backup for system DB. So it will open the backup wizard. So this is the backup wizard. If you see that, let me maximize. So here, if you see that backup types, what backup you want to configure? Complete, differential, incremental. So I'm taking the complete database backups. Destination type, if here is the files. If you want to take on the back interface, just select, and this is the this kind of something will come. Okay, if they have the back interface agent running. Okay, so we don't have, so we'll see. We'll share this one files, and this is the location. If you see that system DB, I have not created system DB. It will create. It will create a system DB as a folder, and then inside that folder, it will take a backups. I have just created backups and the data. Okay, and system DB will be created automatically during the backups. Same for the log, backup log, system DB you will see. This is the backup prefix. You can define any backup prefix. Okay, so this backup prefix is very important in terms of if you are doing the restore. So while doing the restore, you have to specify the prefix, whatever the prefix you have in the backup. For example, I'm giving, what is that, Saturday today. Saturday, what is timing for date? Date is, for example, what is the date? 5. You can put any backup prefix 5 June. Okay, so with this name, your backup file will be created, and this is very important. During the restore, you have to specify the same backup prefix. Otherwise, your backup otherwise you won't able to restore if your backup prefix is mismatched. Fine. So how to identify the backup prefix? I will explain that one. So just specify the backup prefix and then click next. And this is the summary. Okay. Just check the summary. If you're okay, then click finish. Once you click the finish, it will take a backup for your name servers. Okay, so in the HANA database system DB, we have the name servers. So it will take the backup for the name server volumes, name servers topology. So name server, if you see that, it is executing data back in progress, data backups in progress for your name servers. So interview questions: when you trigger the backup for the system DB, which service get backup? So it is name servers. And how many files are created for the name servers? So 2 files are created for the backups. One is the volumes backups for the name servers, and the second is the topological backup for the name server. I'll show you that one. Backup is completed because we don't have much data. Okay, close this one. If you go in the backup wizard to check the catalogs, okay, just double click on the backup console that we call a backup wizard. Okay, so we have one consistent full backup for the system DB. Okay, now if you see the log backup for the system DB is started automatically. I'll show you that. So here it will refresh. You will see the last successful backups, today's date. Yeah, so it will take a time. Yeah, so here the last successful backup is today's date. If you go in the backup catalogs, you will see the system DB backups we have triggered. Okay, so today we have triggered the backup is successful. Backup type is data backups, full database backups. Okay, the file system backup, it is date, okay, duration, size, blah 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 blah, and then location. And if you see here, this is the location. This is the prefix sat underscore 05 underscore June. This is the prefix. Okay, before the data backups underscore data backups, you will be having the prefix. Yeah, so this will be a prefix underscore. After the underscore after underscore, you will see the data backup. That means that before that one, all are the prefix. Okay, so this is the prefix. Okay, before the data backups underscore database underscore data backups. Before underscore data backups, whatever you can see, that is your prefix. You have to specify that prefix. Okay. So if you see that here, topology we have, and then volumes. Okay, topology and the volumes. Okay, and where it is stored, it is stored in here. Okay, so one is the topology, and second is the volumes. So this is for the name server. Interview questions: how many files are created for the name server when you take the backup for the system DB? 2 files are created, one for the topology, and the second is the volumes for the name servers. If you go to the location for if you see here, if you select show log backups, the log backup is started automatically. So here log backup, you see that this is log backups. Where it is, this is your log backups. If you see that, okay. So log backups, the location is this one. It is auto trigger. I have not triggered. It's a trigger automatically. Once it find that successful database backups, then it started the log backup. So now log backup will continue. It required one successful backup, whether it is how older or newer, not problems. So here is the location, and here is the catalog. So if you see that, it is showing the catalogs. Just a minute. Sorry, yeah. So this is the location for the log backups. Automatically triggers once it find the consistent, full backups. Okay, so if you see here, this is okay. Fine. So now, yeah, if you go back to the OS level, if you see here, PWD, this is the log. This is created by default. Yeah, system DB is created by default. So here we have the logs. If you go back in the data, you will see the system. It is created by default. System is created. I am not created. Here you have the prefix. So this is the prefix after underscore, and then you have the data backups. Before that, this will your prefix. So this prefix you have to use. Now fine. So how to trigger the backup for your tenant database? Same. Just log into the system DB, right click, backup and recovery, then backup tenant database. Once you click on the backup tenant database, it will ask you which tenant database you want to trigger the backups, for which tenant database backups you want to trigger. So you have to specify, you have to select your tenant database. So if you see here, if you have the list of the tenants, you just select. So I have only one. I'll select this one, then click next, and if you see here, complete differential, same thing, files, backend. Okay, then this is the location. So if you see that db underscore sid will be created. So what are the sids of your tenant database? It will create, like in our case, my sid is dev. So it create a db underscore dev as a folders, and inside that it will have the backup for the tenant data. This is the prefix. You can put any prefix. I'll use the same one, complete data underscore backups. Okay, then click next. This is the summary, and then click next. Click finish. So once you click finish, it will take the backup. So in the tenant database, if you are taking the tenant database backups, then what services get it? What services it backup? So in the tenant database, we have the index servers and the XX engine. So it will take the backup for the index servers and the XX engine. For the index servers, it will have the 2 files. One is the data volumes, and the second is the topological backups. And in the XX engine, it will having the volumes backups. But index servers, you will have the volume backups and the topology. I'll show you that. Click next. Okay, so it will start the taking the backups for the tenant database. And once your tenant database backup is completed, it start the backups. It start the log backups, because log backup is configured automatically. So once full database backup is there in the systems, it start the log backups automatically. If you see that the Access engine and the index servers, it is getting backed up. So interview question: which services get backup in if you're taking the backup for the tenants? So it is the Access engine and the index server. So how many files are created in index servers? 2 files. What are those? One is the volumes backups, and the other is the topology backups. What is the backup catalogs? You explain the backup catalogs. It store the information about the successful or failed backups, the location and everything. So whatever you can see in the backup catalogs, you explain those. Backup is completed. If you open the backup catalogs, it will take time. I'll show you at the OS level. Go back and then db_sid. Inside that, this is your backups. Okay, so this is your prefix. This is your prefix. Okay, fine. Okay, so if you go to the backup catalogs, here you have to select your tenants. Okay, so it will show you the the successful backups for your tenant database. So this is the successful backups. Okay, for the backup type is data backups, location and all that. If you see here the okay, so let me minimize this one. So if you see the index servers, you have 2 files. One is the topology and then index for the volumes, and Access engine we have the volumes. To identify which one is the topology, which one is the volumes, you just specify here. So 0_1 is the topology, and then 3_1 is the your volumes. You can see here. So first is the topology, and this one is the volumes for the index servers, and this is for your Access engine. Yeah. So if you see your log backups, show log backups. So log backup is started. Okay, so if you see here, we have the multiple files because it is a tenant database, and it store the in the actual data is there in the tenant database. So if you see that first, the size for the backup is 7.46. Okay, so this is the backups. This is the log backups. How you will identify through this one? So if you see the volumes, that means that it is a log backups. It is log backups, and it is stored here. Okay, and the second one, if you see that 1.02, the size is very less. If you select this one, what is that? This is the catalogs. This is the catalogs. This is the catalogs. It is not the log backups. It is the catalogs. So catalogs store the information about your backup status, completed, successful, all the details of the logs and the data backups will be stored in this catalogs. If you see the second one, this is also the catalogs. Okay, so whenever you take a backups, whether it is data backups, your catalog will update it. If you take a log backups, if your log backup is started, then after that catalogs will be generated. So these catalogs will store all the information about your data backups or log backups. Okay, so you will see that multiple the catalog is generated. So multiple catalog is generated because of you have taken the your database backups, or the log backup is automatic. So every 15 minutes, okay, your log backup will start, and after the log backup is completed, the catalog will be generated. This catalog information, the catalog will store the information about your last successful backups, whether it is log backup or whether it is the database backups. Okay, so this catalog is very, very important. Yeah, fine. Any questions till now for the backups before I move to the recovery?
So sir, can we schedule like automatic backup or like retention period through this HANA Studio?
Retention period we cannot schedule here. So retention period you have to define manually. Okay, so if you have the backup methods, backup tools, then there you will be having the retention. So retention, what is the retention period? How you define the retention period in the oracles or SQL DB or IBM DB? No, we don't have the retention period. Retention period is the policies, company policies. It is not defined in, you cannot define in the database. Retention policy, for example, if you are working in the Indian organizations and they have the audit, as per their audit, they say that your backup should be retained for 1 year, 5 years. Then you will be keeping those backups in somewhere, not in the systems, some other location, some other storage location. That we call a retention. Okay, retention is defined by the company organizations manually, not in the systems. Whatever you backup, whatever the backups you take, you just retain that backup to somewhere else. Whether it is 1 month retention, whether it is 2 months, 1 year, 5 years, you just store that backup to the some other location. If during the audit, if someone asks, we need a XYZ dates data, then you restore that data on some systems and then give access to them. So that is called a retention. So forget about that. Retention is there in the any database. The retention policy is the manual, the customer defined.
But
Okay,
if
what are the
suppose like my file system is 1 TB for the backup purpose, like if it gets full, then it will automatically like overwrite the new backup thing.
so as I said that if you have 1 TB, if you want to retain your backups on your file systems for 2 copies, then you make sure that your 2 copies size, the file system size should be there for to store at least 2 copies. And before starting the third backups, you have to delete your old backups.
Okay.
Before deleting, you have to copy that to some other location so that you can retain that for the longer period. On these file systems, whatever we have configure the location like backups data or backup log. So this is on your local systems, local servers. There you cannot define the retention. If you want to define the retention here, if you want to storing the on this location on the servers, if something happened to your hardware servers, if the file systems or disk is crashed, then everything will be lost. So we don't keep all backups on the servers. We keep the backups to the some other location, storage. So we have the storage where we can have the big retention, where we have the storage is always having the redundancy. Okay, so they have if there one disk is failed and they remove that disk and then put they install the other disk. Okay, so your data will never lost in that case in this storage. Okay, but on the servers on your laptop or desktop, if you see that if your disk is crashed, then your data will lost. Okay, because it is not a storage, it is a disk. Okay, so we always take a backups on the file systems on a on the drives or file systems, mount point whatever we have, and then from there we copy to the storage, and storage is the safe location where your the data will be there for the longer period, and there we don't have the corruption, block corruption and all that. Yeah.
Okay, sir, got it. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Sir, any third-party backup tool can be integrated in SAP HANA DB,
Any third party backup tool?
like Commvault for achieving
Yeah,
the
everything, anything. All the third party are supported. Commvault and Veritas, NetApp. So a lot of third party backup tools are there. So the compatibility this has to be checked before buying the license. Yeah. So there may be some compatibility issue with the your current version of the database. So you have to check. But most of the the backups, third party backup tools are supported. Fine. Any other questions?
Like automatic backup is possible, right? Through HANA Studio.
HANA Studio, you cannot have the automatic backups. So HANA Studio, you can trigger the backups. To schedule the automatic backups, either you use the script. Okay, so or you can schedule it from the, if you're running SAP on the HANA database, then you can schedule it from the DBA cockpit. Okay, so DB12 there, so you can use that one, or you can schedule the script, OS script. Okay, so to configure the backups, so it will take the backups on the file systems to the script.
So normally in real life scenario, like there is one administrator who is used to take backup on a daily basis, or like how it
Not
is
not not a daily basis. We schedule it the backups from the SAP cockpit. DB
okay.
cockpit is there, right? So we schedule it from the DB cockpit. If you have solution manager, if you integrated your HANA database with the solution managers, then from the solution manager we also trigger the backups of DB cockpit T code. And also if you have the HANA cockpit 2.0, then from the HANA cockpit 2.0 we can also schedule the backups. Yeah. Also some script are there, the OS script are there. Using the OS script we schedule the backups. So we copy those scripts. So SAP has the some SAP nodes are there. If you want to schedule the script, then use that script. Just change the SID's location for your path for the destination path, and then provide the SID ADM password, user ID and the password in that script, and then you schedule it in the Linux using the cron tab. But you need the OS team help for scheduling those scripts. Yeah, so many ways you can have backup schedule. Okay, any other questions?
So when we create the backup directory, we need to take in consideration that there will be an additional space incurred for the log backup. Do we add that
Yes.
also?
Yeah, we have to consider those.
How do we calculate? Like, is there a number like 10% or 20% extra than my data size?
uh for the log, it is not like this 10% or something. So it's all depends. So use the same size. Okay, so uh, so based on the so initially you will be configuring the less one, and then on daily basis you will be checking the what is the size. Okay, so log, we cannot say that what will be the the log backup size, because if the functional team they generate they schedule the multiple jobs, data load and all that, then you will see the multiple log backups. So the 15 minutes here, if I say that it is by default 15 minutes, but the backups can be triggered, log backups can be triggered before the 15 minutes as well. Okay, so if your log segment is full, then the backup will trigger automatically. Okay, so when the log segment is full, if there is a load, multiple load is there. Okay, if the functional team schedule the multiple jobs, month-end jobs or year-end jobs, in that case you will be having the multiple uh, you know the logs is generated. So you will see the huge amount of logs. So it is not depends upon the percentage. So it's varies, depends upon the uh, situation. Okay, so keep it the good size. Okay, uh, so I will suggest that you should have at least the same size. So whatever the size you have for the HANA SID log, the same size you can have for the log backups. Yeah, like this you can have.
Thank you.
But regularly you will be copying those backups to some other location. Okay, so every day you will be scheduling the script to copy those log or data backups from your the local file systems or NFS to the storage. Okay, so you won't face any issues. Yeah, regularly you have to monitor the the location for the destinations. for your data and the log backups. Yeah. If you see that it is utilized more, then you have to copy the backup to the third-party location. So we have triggered the script. So whenever the destination's location for the log or data, so we have kept the same for the log. We have kept the location the same for the log backups and the data backups. Okay, the common backups, HANA backups we have created, and it is common for the log and the data. So separate folder is there inside that, and we have set the alerts. If this HANA backup file system is utilizing 80%, then we will get the alerts. Okay, so this alert mechanism is there, so no need to monitor. So monitor just your inbox whenever you see that alerts for 80% for your HANA backups. Okay, then you react on this one. Yeah, like this. Any other questions? Fine. So we'll move to the recovery part. Database recovery. So why recovery is necessary? So recovery is necessary in case of disk crash for the data area and the log area. A reset system to a certain point in time for a special recovery purpose, like if you want to perform the sandbox, if you want to create a sandbox systems. Okay, then you just or for refresh, if you are doing the refresh. So in that case also recovery is required. So refresh means we are taking the backups for the production and then we are restoring those backups to the quality systems. So that is nothing but a special recovery. We can say that is the point in time recovery. In that case, you require the logs and the data as well. Create a copy of the database means if you want to create a sandbox systems or POC systems, okay, or training systems of your production or quality, then you can also you can also perform the recovery. So we take a backups for the production or quality, and then we build the new systems. Okay, systems copy, in case of you're doing the homogeneous systems copy, then uh, the backup is also required, and using the homogeneous systems copy, it does the recovery. What kind of recovery procedure are available in the HANA database? So three types of recovery is there. The recover to the status before failover, point in time recovery, and recovery to a specific data backups. So three recovery method is there. The recovery to status before the failover. So this is changed now. We have recover the database to its most recent. So name is changed. If you see that earlier it was recover to the status before failover. Now it is recover the database to its most recent. Okay. So we have three options: recover the database to its most recent state, then recover the database to a specific point in time recovery, recover the database to a specific data backups. So three methods we have for the recovery. Fine. So for the first two, you require the data and the logs backup. So what is different between these two? Okay, so recover the database to its most recent state. This recovery option we use if your system is crash. Okay, if your system is crash, like your data volumes is crash, okay, or some hardware failure is happen, and there is no option to recover the HANA systems. Okay, so due to the some software issues after the failure, something data is corrupted. Okay, so in that case you will be performing the recover the database to its most recent. So whatever the most recent state, successful recent state, consistent recent state, restore to that point. So it will automatically restore your HANA database till the last consistent state. Okay, so in that you will be required you have to specify the location for your data backups. Also you require the log backups. Also you require the log area. Okay, so log area is also required in the first cases. The third case is recover database to specific point in time recovery. If you want to perform your system refresh from production to a quality, and then point in time is that data should be copied till 2 p.m. IST something. So 2 p.m. IST is the your point in time recovery, and your backups runs at midnight 12 a.m. Okay, so 12 a.m. data backups you required, and all the logs till point in time recovery. Okay, so in this case you require the data backups and the log backup as well. So log area is not required. Sorry, here it is written wrongly. So this log area is not required. So here in point in time recovery you require the data and the logs backups. So if you have the log mode equal to normal, then first two is possible. All three is possible. The third one is the record database to specific database backups. All three is possible with the log mode equal to normal. If you want to use first two option, then you require the logs. If you want to use only the last option, then you require only data backups. If you have the log mode equal to override, then only last option is possible, because first two option require the log backups, and in override we don't have the logs, we have the data backups. Okay, fine. So point in time point to be noted before recovery start. SAP HANA database software must be installed. You can use the SAP HANA Studio to restore customer specific changes to the initial backup. So if you're creating a copy of your production, like you're creating a training systems, you took the backups for your production and then you restore on the quality systems. And if you want to restore the custom specific changes like INA files, customer specific changes we call INA files. If you want to restore the INA files, then you have to do it manually. So whatever the changes is there in the INA files, you have to do those changes manually in the training systems or target systems. Ensure that the target systems and the source systems should have the identical configuration. At the beginning of the recovery, you have to specify all the data and the log backup location, or those location must be accessible. At least one data backups must be available before recovery is started. So to start the recovery, any recovery, you require at least data backups. Recovery to a lower system release is not possible. Fine. So recovery steps, when we start the recovery, then when we start the recovery, then it confirm the systems, whether it will confirm that system will be shut down. Then after that, once we confirm, then it asks for the which recovery types we want to perform, like most recent state, PIT, or the database specific backups. Specify the data in the log backups location, then specify the relevant data backups, then monitor your recovery. Okay, so these are the recovery steps we'll see practically. Okay, so recovery phases. So we have three types of recovery phases. So when your recovery start, you will see that three phases. First is the data recovery, second is the log replay, and the third is the restart. So data recovery, in this recovery phase, it will restore the database backups. In the log replay, it will restore the logs. Once your data and the log is recovered, then it restart the services. So whatever the services we have, like we have the name servers, index server, name servers in systemd, and index servers, and then access engine in the tenants. So whatever systems you restore recover like systems, then your name servers will be restarted at the end. Third phase is the restart. If you recover your tenants, then XX engine and then index servers will be restarted after the data and the log recovery is completed. So the data recovery always there, the restart is always there, but log replay, the phase is depends upon your recovery types. If you specify the recovery types as the most recent or the point in time recovery, then log replay, the phase will be there. Otherwise, it won't be there. If you specify only the recover database using the database backups, then log replay will not be there. You will see the data recovery and the restart only. Okay, fine. Any questions till now? So here interview question, what are the recovery phases? So data recovery, log replay, and the restart. You have to explain this one. No questions, let me move. So we'll see that how to perform the recovery. So we'll go into systems, close everything. The recovery is also through the system DB. Okay, so we do the recovery from the system DB only, from the HANA Studio. Okay, so just right click your system DB and then right click and then perform, then select the backup and recovery. Now whatever you want to recover, you can recover your system DB or tenant database. So I'll show you the both one. Okay, and what is the difference between the recovering the system database and the tenant database. So if you recover the system database, okay, so it will restore only system database, so it won't touch the tenant database. Okay, so system database means it will take the backups, it will restore the only the name servers. So while taking the backups of system database, it takes the backups of the name servers. So when we do the recovery of the system DB, then it will recover only the name servers of system DB. So it won't touch your tenant database. Yeah. So we'll perform the recovery of the system DB. Go to the backups and recovery and then recover system database. So once you select the recover system database, then it will ask you the SID ADM and the password. So you should have the SID ADM and the password if you are performing the recovery of your system DB. So this is not the case for your tenants. Yeah. So system DB, you require the SID ADM and the password. So Dev ADM, you have to specify whatever the SIDs you have, and then the password is welcome one. Then it will start the recovery phase. So it is asking the confirmation. Okay, so during the recovery, your system DB will be shut down and will restart automatically. So when you perform the recovery of your system DB, then your all tenants database will shut down. Okay, so you have to make sure that you shut down all your tenant database. Okay, so the system DB, the recovery is required, downtime of your tenant database as well. You have to stop your application and the database. Okay, fine. So just do the confirmation. Okay, then it will ask you the recovery types, what recovery types you want to perform. Yeah, so this is the recovery. So I'll recover my database using the specific database backups. So if you want to restore recent state or point in time recovery, so recent state if you select, then it will ask you provide the backup catalogs. Okay, I'll show you that. If you click on the next, then here you have to provide the catalogs the location. Okay, because this option required a catalogs. Okay, and then because on the same systems, you know, you will be recording. So once you click the next, it will look for the, it will fetch the, you know, backup catalogs, and here you will see the, you know, backups, successful backup, last successful backups. So this is the last successful backups. If you see that, okay, so it will take this one and restore your, you know, so whether it is required the logs backups or not, it will also, you know, it will also give you the locations, the informations. So here in the most recent, if you select, then it says that only restoring of the data backup for the system DB from this location will bring everything up to date. Okay, so meaning of this one. So always use this option catalogs if you are going with the most recent. So here if you see that here is gray out, you have to select and then you have to check the availability. Click on the check availability. Once you click on the check availability, it will green. Okay, it will check the location whether the data is present on the location or not. Okay, so destinations. So if it is present, then it will show you the green. Okay, then after that you select next. Okay, then here the location for the logs automatically it will pick. Okay, so if any is there, if you start, then it will start the recovery of your log and the your data and the logs. Okay, I'm going back. I'll show you that how to recover your database without catalogs. Yeah, this one. Okay, so we use always this one. Yeah, point in time recovery is also that if you want to recover the, you know, if you want to perform the refresh, then you have to go with the point in time recovery, and then you have to specify the date and timing. Okay, and then you have to specify the you know, the location of the data and the logs after that. Okay, so we don't have the logs, so yeah, for the practical purpose we'll go with these options. Record database to the specific database data backups. Okay, so here if you select this one, then it asks you to provide you the data backups location. Okay, so database will be recorded to specific database backup or earlier point in time. Any changes made after that data backups. Okay, so it is saying that the you are recovering the, you know, data backups, specific data backups. After that data, whatever the changes is there, those changes will not become. Okay, that is fine. We are okay with that one. We don't have much changes. Now here we don't want to go with the you know, catalogs. If you want to go with the catalogs, you can go with the catalog as well. Okay, but if you are going with the, you know, recovery with the specific database backups, only you are recovering the data, then you go with this one, recover data without backups. If you select this one, then automatically it will look for the backups catalogs. So this is the backup catalogs we you know, the configured. So inside that backup catalogs, it will show you that which you know, successful database backup we have. Okay, so which are the, you know, last successful backups which we can restore. So it will list, it will give you the list. If the backup is, you know, is happening, you know, for long. Okay, so it will show you the all the, you know, the details. Okay, all the multiple backups, you know, multiple successful backups. So what are the backups you want to restore? For example, the last night, then, you know, then, you know, after you know, day before that. Okay, last night. So all the list of the, you know, log backups you will see there. Whatever the backups you want to restore, you just select from the catalogs and then click next, and then you check the availability whether the that data backups is exist physically or not. If it doesn't exist, then you have to you won't able to restore. Okay, so to avoid those things, we always go with the record without the catalogs. So in this case, we copy the backups. Okay, we copy the backups to the location. Okay, so you should have the backups. So we have the backups on the backup you know, data system DB. So we will use that location only. Okay, so select next, and then files. Then here the backup prefix. You have to specify the backup prefix as well. This location, okay, you have to cross check whether it is exists or not. Also the cross check the backup prefix as well. This is exist, and then backup prefix is this one. Okay, so you have to specify this backup prefix, otherwise you won't be able to restore. So here you specify the location for your data backups wherever you have the data. Okay, and then specify the backup prefix. Okay, and then click next. Okay, so here don't do anything. You can also install the license if you have the license for HANA database. You just click next. Okay, summary, you look for the summaries and then click finish. Once you click finish, it will start recovering of your system DB. So it will, restore the name servers. So name servers, we have the topology and the volumes. So the interview question, when you perform the recovery of system DB, so what services are recovered? The services are the name servers, and what are the the components are recovered. First is the two components are there, topology and the volumes. So those tools are restored during the recovery. So if you see that it is starting the name servers, so initially it shut down the HANA systems. Okay, so to restart the recovery, shut down the HANA system first, and then it start the services, and then it start the recovery. So yeah, so you perform this from the HANA Studio and from the remote desktops. Yeah, do not perform from your laptop. If the network connectivity is lost from your from home network, then problems. So always use the remote desktops. So you will be having the remote desktop, the desktop, that is the XAMPP servers in your project. So use that one. So if you see that recovery is completed, because in the system we don't have the much data, and if you see that this information, that means that your recovery is completed. Click close, and if you refresh, you will see your everything is there. Just after the recovery, you check the services, all services are green, then fine. That means that everything is restored. If you log in successfully, that means that your recovery is completed successfully. So if you go in the landscape, if you see all services are up and running, that means that all green, then that means that you have performed the recovery successfully. Fine, this is how we do the recovery for the system DB. So rare cases we do the recovery for the system DB. Okay, but we take a backup for system DB regularly. So the system DB and then tenant database we schedule on daily basis. Now we'll perform the recovery of tenant database. Same procedure, login with the system DB. In the system DB, right click and then click on the backup and recovery, and then select recover tenant database. Once you click on the recover tenant database, it will ask you which tenant database you want to restore. And while recovering the tenants, it doesn't ask the SID area, user ID, and the password. So it is only for the system DB only, because system, to stop the system DB, it required the SID area and the password. Select your database, tenant database, which you want to recover. Click next, and then go with the specific database backups based on your requirement. You select. Okay, go with this one. Okay, and then click next. I'll show you that, but I don't have the logs. Okay, let me start with this this one. So we have the logs. So let me, yeah, so yeah, fine. So let me go with this one. I'll show you with the recovery database specific point in time recovery. So here, if you see that, you can select the time zone. Okay, so for example, IST I'm taking. So today is 6, and we started the backups. Okay, so data backup is completed 11:30 and log. So I'll put that here 11:30. Okay, so till 11:30 restore my database backups and also the logs. Okay, so whatever the data comes and whatever the logs comes till 11:30. Okay, restore everything. Okay, so it will restore everything. In this case, we have to provide the last successful backups, database backups, and all the logs till 11:30. Here, provide the IST. Here, if you see the system time zone is always GMT, so it will always convert into the GMT. So we specify our time. So whatever the times you want to restore. Okay, then click next. Now here you have to provide the catalogs. What are the catalogs location you have? What are the catalogs you have? Okay, so I said that your catalog is very important. You just copy your catalogs. For example, if you are doing this for your quality systems, you have the backups. You are taking the backups from the production. Okay, you copy your production data backups, log backups, and the catalogs to your quality system. You have put your all the backups on your quality systems under this location backups. Okay, whatever it is. Okay, so you specify here the catalogs of your production, which whatever you have copy data logs and the catalogs. So you specify the location here for the backup catalogs and then click next. Then database must be offline before recovery can start. So it is saying that your database tenant, that is DEE, will be offline during the recovery. So whenever you recover any database, your database will shut down. Okay, and then it perform the recovery. Give the confirmation. Now after that it will fetch the location for it will fetch the successful backups, okay, from the catalogs. So if you see here data backups, if you see here it is the data. Okay, so it says that in the catalogs we can see list of the backups. So what are the backups is the last, you pick the last one. Okay, this one, the first one, last successful backups, select that one and then check availability. Okay, checking the availability means it will check the location. Okay, so location is there. Okay, so data is there. You can able to recover your database backups. Okay, because it is green, available means available. Here is green means it is available. This backup is available. Now click next. Now here you have to specify the location for your logs. So what are the wherever you have kept your logs, you just provide the location and then click add. So by default it is taking this one. Okay, so if you don't have this one, so if you want to specify something else which as per your location wherever you have the backups on your quality systems, you just do this one. Then so yeah, copy this one here and then you can add it. Okay, and then click next. Now here, this is the file systems. This is the file systems. Select that one, and here you have to just select initialize log area. So whatever the log area is there for the current dev, it will be override. Okay, we don't want anything, so we want clean log area. So with the point in time recovery, you always select this one. Okay, once you select this one, you will get this information. If you initialize the log area, only the log entries in the log backups will be recovered. Okay, so it says that only the log backups will be recovered. As a result, system only be recovered until the point in time recovery, when the most recent log backups was made. Okay, all the data stored in these systems after the log backup will be lost. That's fine. Are you sure you want to initialize the log area? Yes. So always you select log area if you are restoring your backups as a point in time recovery. Yeah, so always use, otherwise you won't able to restore your recover your database using the point in time recovery. Keep it recommended, use delta backups, keep it as it is, don't change anything. Yeah, and then click next. Okay, so here is the summary. Okay, and then click finish. You verify and then click on the finish. So here it will start the recovery. Here you will see the 3 phases. Okay, here you will see the 3 phases. So here it will recover your Talend database and then Access engine. So if you see that Access engine and the index servers. Data recovery phase 1 of 3 is started. Means data recovery is started. Okay, phase 1. Okay, so yeah, and then after that the log recovery it will start with the Access engine and the index servers. Now it is restarting the services after the recovery of the data and the logs. The restart of the index server is completed. Restart of the Access engine is completed. All 3 phases are completed successfully. Okay, click close, then log into the Talend database. Where is my Talend? This one. No, not this one. Yeah, this one. And check for the if any issues. Check for your services. Yeah, so all is green. That means that my recovery is everything is fine. Check for the alerts if there is any alerts in the systems. Okay, no alerts. All is good. Okay, so all systems, all services are green. Everything is green. So cross checks once. Do the post installation steps for your applications. If you are doing for the system refresh and all that. Okay, then after the recovery, you start your application, connect your application with your tenant data with your tenants, and then you do the post recovery post refresh of the application one. Yeah, like this. So this way you can do the recovery, backups, and the recovery of the systems and the tenant database. Any questions till now?
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, the same process for the cross tenant. I have
Yes.
another tenant, so that tenant backup can I restore in first tenant?
Yes. Yeah. Same process you follow for the cross systems also.
So you said that the global catalog I have to copy. What exactly that, sir?
So if you want to perform the recoveries for your logs as well, so you require the, if you want to do with the catalogs, then you do with the catalogs. If you don't want to do with the catalogs, you do without catalogs. So if you do with the catalogs, then your jobs will be easy because it will pick up the location automatically from the catalogs. for your database data backups and the log backups. So yeah,
So can you show the path on the OS level
for which what
for database catalog for current development system?
I don't know what you're talking. So
You
location
said
I already explained, right? Where to copy, how to give give the location. So this is the location for your catalogs. So in the configuration, I explained this now. In the configuration in the global.ini, we specify the three location: one for the the logs, backups, data backups, and the catalogs, right? So that catalogs is there. Whatever the location you have here, for example, for whatever the systems you have in your project, so you look for this one, catalogs backups. Whatever the location is there, you have to copy the catalogs from that location. Yeah. So we always keep the same location for the catalog backups and then log backups. Yeah, we keep the same. Okay, so this is the location for your catalogs. Okay, for your systems and the tenant database. समझा प्रश्न? Hello. So always use the latest catalogs. So how to identify the latest catalogs? So go to the backups, then backup catalogs. If you are restoring the tenants of your production, log into the production systems, go to the production tenants, and then click on the logs. So log backups, and here if you see this one, look for the one. So if you see here, it is the catalogs. So this catalogs you require. This catalogs is having the complete information about your all the backups, previous backups. Yeah, this is your this is also catalogs. This is catalogs. This is volumes, log volumes. This is volumes. This is all catalogs. So from here you can see the source. What is that exactly? Source types, whether it is catalogs, volumes, or topology. Yeah, like this you can identify the location for your catalogs. This is the location for your tenants database, the catalogs, and this is the catalog files. This catalog files it will use during the recovery. Okay,
okay, sir.
but you should have the same location. If you don't have the same location on your quality systems, then catalog will not able to able to understand the location. So it whenever you look whenever you click on the checks availability, then it will show you the errors. Okay, the location is not found. Okay, so when we do the backups and backup configuration, we have the same mount point. Okay, for even we have the common uh, the backups NFS for development quality production. So we keep the same for entire this one, and inside that we create the location inside that we create the SIDs. Okay, or if you have the separate for non-production or the production NFS for the backups, so that is also fine, but there we keep the the file systems name common. Okay, but the location will be different, like for the non-production the storage will be different for the non-production. Okay, so yeah, so for the non-production you will get the NFS from the non-production storage. For the production, you will get the NFS for the HANA backup from the production storage. If you have the common storage for production, the non-production, then you can set up the common NFS for the HANA backups for development, quality, and production. And inside that, you create a folder production something, or non-production something, and inside that you can store your tenants and then your system DB. Okay, so if you use these catalogs for the recovery, then automatically it will pick up the location. Automatically it will pick up the location, and then it will restore from that catalog location to your target systems. Yeah.
Okay. So, sir, that in my SID also get replaced. Means I am restoring the product PRD,
Yes, yes,
restore
yes.
into the dev.
Yeah. So you will be having the the same SID. So whatever the SIDs you have on the target, you will be having that SIDs only. For example, if you have the PRD on production, you are restoring the PRD data on quality QA, then your SID will not be changed. Your SID will be same. Quality SID, whatever is there, that will be there. So in HANA, it doesn't change your SIDs. It only change the schemas. Okay, so whatever the schema you have in production, those schema will be replaced in quality. Your SID will be same. If you compare with the Oracle, in Oracle we do the schema conversion as well after the recovery, but that is not required in case of the HANA. So HANA backups and recovery is very, very simple. If you see that, if your concept are clear, then you can do easily. So HANA is basically, it depends upon the concept and the theory. If your concept and the theory is clear, then you can perform anything in the HANA systems. Yeah. So schema conversion is not required. So earlier we had the schema conversion in early release. So when we, schema conversion, sorry, the SID conversion is not required. Yeah, but schema conversion is required. If you want to perform the schema, if you want to have the same schema name, so whatever there in the, before the restore recovery, then you have to perform the schema conversion. But people don't follow. Okay, as of now we have the common schema for the ABAP system. So if you're installing any ABAP systems like S4HANA 2020, if you're installing on the HANA database, okay, then your schema will be HANA DB. Okay, so this HANA DB will be common for your development, quality, and the production. So by default, it will configure as a HANA DB as a schema. So its schema conversion is also not required. So initially it was required, but SAP keep the straightforward during the installations. By default, your schema will be created as with this name, whatever it is, whether it is development, quality, and production. Okay, so schema will be as it is. So there won't be schema changes after the recovery as well. If you are on SAP S4 HANA 1809 and above. Okay, so yeah, so schema is common. So SAP also recommend that if you are installing ECC on any database, not only the ECC, not only the S4 HANA, any SAP application, whether it is ABAP or Java, you keep your schemas common for your across the landscape, whether it's development, quality, and production, whatever it is. So you keep the common, you keep the same schema name in your all the environments. Okay, so this will avoid the schema conversions during the refresh. Yeah. Fine. Any other questions? Hey, any questions from Rakesh? You didn't ask any questions today. Fine. Okay. So no questions. Then we'll wind up. So tomorrow we'll meet same time. 10 a.m. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks all. Thanks. Bye.